Came to Believe, the spiritual adventure of AA as experienced by individual members. This is Sober Readings for Sunday, May 25th. Last week I'd finished Chapter 3, so that means this week we're up to Chapter 4. Chapter 4 has 8 separate reading sections, so today I'll be reading the first 4. Chapter 4, Release from Obsession. In the late stages of our drinking, the will to resist has fled. Yet when we admit complete defeat, and when we become entirely ready to try AA principles, our obsession leaves us and we enter a new dimension. Freedom under God as we understand Him. Bill W. The first section is titled Total Surrender. What has always impressed me most about the program and myself is the constant, continuing challenge to try recapturing some of the true and honest rapture I felt under total surrender when I first came into AA. For me, that special peace of mind has never been duplicated. Now, after all the accumulated 24-hour periods, I realize that it probably never will be. I have come close to it a few times, but it's never the same. I think there is a relationship between that feeling and our need at the time when we were introduced to the program. Our motivation, I believe, is a combination of enough hurt and the grace of God. Surely a strange combination. I would not know how to express it to anyone outside AA. Des Plaines, Iowa. The next section is titled He Took Control. I could not believe sobriety would benefit me. With a working wife, a beautiful home, a big, impressive automobile, and credit cards in my pocket, who needed help? I could not believe there would be any fun in life without booze, nightclubs, and honky-tonk angels. I could not believe those rummies in AA were as interested in my welfare as they claimed to be. And I certainly couldn't believe that people who admitted having spent time in the funny farm could show me a better way of life. Nor did I need them to tell me about God. My grandmother, my aunts, and many other people had tried that. Although not caring to be called a Christian, I did believe there was a God of some sort, somewhere, who would help me if I really needed outside help. But I was a man enough and smart enough to help myself. So I wasn't asking God or anyone else for help. In those last 3 years, while playing revolving door with the fellowship, I drank up all my excuses for not needing AA. One evening, I sat alone in my apartment, counting my bankroll, 89 cents. There was no food in my apartment. Should I spend 85 cents for another bottle of wine? Yes, I had to. It would be impossible for me to face the world in the morning without a drink. But then, I really didn't have to face the world in the morning, because I no longer had a job to go to, nor a wife to nag at me, nor kids to badger me for school money. What could I do? My mind became hopelessly weary at this point and refused even to attempt a decision. Desperately, hoping he might be listening, I knelt beside my empty wine bottle and prayed very simply, "Oh God, please help me." The answer came immediately. I knew I could somehow get through the night, and even face the morning light, without another bottle. The next day, I went to a rehabilitation house for alcoholic men. During my stay, attending AA meetings daily and talking about alcoholism and sobriety with people whose personal sobriety ranged from 1 day to 25 years, I came to believe. The higher power had taken away, for that one night, my constant craving for alcohol, and he had guided me back to AA. But the craving for booze came back to me. I had to fight it constantly, even though I was sincerely trying to work the AA program. When the steps were read, God as we understood Him bothered me. These people had something I was unable to grasp. I had never been able to understand God, and still didn't. Changing His name to higher power didn't help any. One of the old-timers used the electricity metaphor, which I later found in the Big Book. A person walking into a dark room does not worry about understanding electricity, he said. He just finds the switch and turns on the light. He explained that we can turn on the switch of spirituality by simply asking God each morning for another day of sobriety and thanking Him at night for another beautiful, sober day. He said, "Do it mechanically if you really don't believe in it, but do it every day. There is probably no one who really understands the wonderful ways of the higher power, and we don't need to. He understands us." So I prayed every morning and night. Sometimes I meant it. Sometimes I didn't. I got a job because I was no longer afraid to ask for one. It was not the type of job to be proud of, and the paycheck was small. However, it made me self-supporting, and I moved from the rehab to a little apartment. One Saturday evening, my pity pot got too big for me, and I fell in. Here was I, 2 months sober, trying so hard to work the program, being so honest that it hurt, continually fighting that physical craving for a drink. And what had it gotten me? Nothing. Living alone in a dingy place, working in a job I despised, earning barely enough to spare a quarter for the no-fees basket. To hell with it, I might as well be drunk. Heading for the territory I had favored during the latter period of my bar drinking, I unconsciously made 3 wrong turns. On the streets I know as you know your own living room, and wound up in an AA club. I was out of the car and up on the porch before realizing I had driven the wrong way. Well, I'd go in and say goodbye. Somehow, I wound up going to a nearby meeting with 2 AA friends, and the meeting was so good that it completely washed the bar-hopping idea out of my mind. When I walked into my apartment and flipped the light switch, another light came on. A light inside my thick skull. That night, I fervently thanked the God I did not understand for taking complete control of my mind and body long enough to deliver me to my AA friends, thereby saving me from one drunk too many. Then and there, I came to believe that God could and would do for me what no human power could. Since that time, I have not had a craving for a drink of alcohol. Since that time, I have come to believe that anything relevant to a better life is made possible by daily living the AA way with the help of an understanding God, whom I still do not understand. San Diego, California. The next reading is very short, and it's titled Under God. The desire to drink was removed and never returned once I accepted Step 3, during a terrific storm in the North Pacific. After all, you don't have much to say about it. Lloyd's of London's definition of a master of a ship is captain under God. AA Internationalists. And the next section is titled A New Feeling. Since childhood, I have believed in God, but I quit going to church when the booze took over. For 11 years, I did not have a sober day, except a few times when I was hospitalized or under a doctor's care. I prayed many times, but I felt I was not getting through to God. One day, toward the end of those years, I made the mistake of mixing liquor with medication given me by my neighborhood doctor. My wife was sure I was dead. The next day, the doctor said that if his phone had been tied up for just minutes when she called, he would have been too late. My heartbeat and pulse were gone when he arrived. Still, after 2 weeks of recovery in the hospital, and then 8 more weeks on the wagon, I began drinking again. Within 2 months, I reached a point where I wanted to die and could not. Down in Texas, my sister had met an AA, and after receiving a letter from her, I agreed to get in touch with a member in my town. I would have bet $10 to a plugged nickel it was a false alarm, but I did go to meet him. He lent me his big book and advised me to try to read it with a clear head and meet him the following Thursday night and attend an AA meeting. I told my wife that I had never talked to a man who seemed to understand my problem as he did. About 7 p.m., I went into the bathroom to the medicine cabinet where I kept my liquor and took a drink from a pint I had just bought. Now I was ready to read the AA book. After reading about an hour, I automatically got up to get another drink. But I stopped, remembering I had promised to read with a clear head. so I postponed the drink and kept on reading. When I came to the chapter, We Agnostics, I read, "We needed to ask ourselves but one short question. Do I now believe, or am I even willing to believe, that there is a power greater than myself?" This impressed me very much. All the same, I went to the bathroom to take one big drink before retiring, as I had done every night for years. As I reached for the bottle, the thought occurred to me that, just maybe, if I asked God for a little help, He might hear me. I turned out the light, and for the first time in my life, I talked to God with all honesty and sincerity. Dear God, if you will, listen to me. I am, as you know, absolutely no good to my family, my friends, and myself. This liquor has beaten me down to the ground, and I am unable to do anything about it. Now, if you will, let me get a night's rest without this drink. I went to bed. The first thing I knew, it was 6:30 a.m. Time to get up. When I sat on the side of the bed for the first time in years, I did not have the cold sweats and shakes. I decided I must have gotten up and drunk some more liquor in the early morning hours. But no, the bottle was there, just as I had left it the night before. I shaved without having to take on 6 or 8 ounces of liquor first. I went out into the kitchen and told my wife about this change and the new feeling I had. I even drank a cup of coffee holding the cup with one hand instead of pouring it into a bowl and holding it up with both hands. If God is helping me, I said, I sure hope He keeps on. She said He would if I tried to help myself. Thursday night, I did meet the AA man, and we attended my first meeting, and I met the finest and most understanding people I had ever known. I was 43 then. I'm now 71. I can honestly say that I have never even come close to a slip, and with God as my silent partner, I am sure I can make it another 24 hours. Evansville, Indiana. That's it for today's reading. The next time I'll finish up chapter 4 with the last 4 sections. Thanks for listening, and remember, just for today, don't drink, go to a meeting, and keep coming back. Have a great day, and as my friend Larry says, best day ever.